Designed to appeal to man's best friend. Let your dog sit around TV and be stimulated and entertained by the exciting movements and objects. Or simply chill them out with soothing sounds and images. Just sit back and enjoy the fun of watching TV with your pooches. Dog TV, Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 on ViuTV6. Dive into the world of endless possibilities.
We're gonna eat, we're gonna drink, we're gonna get tattooed.
The most mouth-watering food establishments.
Unbelievable.
The coolest microbreweries.
I need that so badly, man.
The edgiest tattoo parlors.
Look at them, damn it, they're amazing.
Out-of-the-box entertainment right in front of you. Food, booze, and tattoo. Sunday at 12 midnight on Channel 96 ViuTV6.
Good evening, I'm Joel Flynn in Hong Kong. Welcome to the late edition of ViuTV News. Coming up on tonight's show. The Philippines puts a temporary stop on foreign domestic helpers and it's impacting Hong Kong families. Carrie Lam says scheduling conflicts stopped her from meeting Xi Jinping formally at the APEC summit as the Trans-Pacific Partnership looks back on. And billions gone in minutes. Singles Day sets records again. About 1,000 Hong Kong families will soon have difficulty hiring domestic help. The Philippine government will temporarily stop accepting and processing applications for those who want to go overseas as it probes recruitment agencies. In a memo issued to foreign domestic helper employment agencies, authorities say they need time to look into allegations of illegal recruitment. It will take effect on Monday and last until December the 1st. Apart from impacting families here, the order will also likely delay the arrival of several thousand domestic helpers. Hong Kong's Labour chief says he's expressed his concern to the island nation. Meanwhile, a pilot scheme will be introduced next year to offer elderly care training to 300 domestic helpers here. That number might even be boosted if the programme is well received. At the same time, the government is weighing up possible subsidies for single elderly Hong Kongers to hire maids. A big concern, though, in the eyes of the Labour and Welfare chief is whether seniors will get along well with their helpers. Lord Chi Kwong says they're also considering other options.
In other countries, there are programs that allow healthy senior citizens to volunteer to receive more care when they get older. This, in a way, promotes health and boosts social participation. It also makes them feel less guilty when they need to be taken care of, as they would think they deserve the care after making decades-long contributions to society.
A local deputy to China's top legislative body warns enforcing the controversial national anthem law won't be hard. Rita Fan says police officers can always use video technology to catch offenders, especially when there's booing on a large scale. Her comments come after Hong Kong football supporters booed the anthem at a friendly match earlier this week. Fan believes we'll see less of this as soon as the government figures out a way to make it illegal to disrespect the song. She's also dismissing demands from pro-democracy lawmakers for a full public consultation.
There isn't much argument about whether we need to have this law. The only sort of reason given for a public consultation that I can gather is that we feel worried, but not many Hong Kong people, I think. Basically, those who I have talked to simply tells me that they feel this law should be made in Hong Kong, and they do not see any problem with it.
Meanwhile, Carrie Lam has concluded her two-day visit to the APEC summit in Da Nang without a formal meeting with Xi Jinping. The chief executive said that the pair couldn't find time to sit down privately owing to scheduling conflicts. She added, though, that she did have more than a few opportunities to chat with Xi on the sidelines, saying she had met him enough this year. She also expressed relief that the LegCo has passed a motion of thanks for her maiden policy address, even while doubting it would be a turning point for the LegCo executive relationship. An agreement has also been struck there at the summit to keep the Trans-Pacific Partnership from collapsing. A dark cloud has been hanging over the enormous trade deal since the United States pulled out, and apparent resistance from Canada. Grace Lee has more.
A major breakthrough in talks on the Trans-Pacific Partnership at the APEC summit, the 11 countries involved agreeing to keep the deal alive.
We reconfirmed that we agreed on a draft of a statement.
That final statement released on Saturday, despite resistance from Canada earlier this week that put new doubts over the deal's survival.
This is not about speed, this is about outcome. I've said to my colleague, this is not about Friday, but this is about the next decades.
Moving ahead with the TPP is a boost for the principle of multilateral trade agreements after U.S. President Donald Trump ditched the deal this year, touting an America First policy, which was once again his focus in his speech at the summit on Friday.
The United States will no longer turn a blind eye to violations, cheating, or economic aggression.
But there's still a lot of work to be done for the remaining nations of the TPP. The countries have committed to the core elements of the deal, but officials say there are still areas that need consensus for a finalized version. Japan has been lobbying hard for the agreement, which aims to eliminate tariffs on industrial and farm products, partly to counter China's growing dominance in Asia.
Meanwhile, at the summit, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has thanked Russia for providing timely assistance in combating pro-Islamic State militants in his country. The remark came just a day before US President Donald Trump is set to leave Hanoi for Manila tomorrow in the last stop of his 12-day Asia tour. Speaking on the sidelines of the APEC summit, Duterte said he's willing to purchase weapons from the Kremlin to build a stronger army. US lawmakers have recently stopped sales of more than 20,000 assault rifles to the island nation.
That is my dream, that before I finish my presidency, I want to build a strong armed forces and a strong police. And that is it's very important for you to know that we are buying arms from Russia this time.
One person that did give Trump a warm welcome, though, was Russian President Vladimir Putin. The pair looked like old friends as they greeted each other on the sidelines of the APEC summit. The White House has said there will be no formal meeting of the two leaders because of scheduling conflicts. Putin said afterwards at a news conference that they had had a useful discussion. Well, Trump's ongoing visit around Asia is putting no end to the war of words with Pyongyang. North Korea's state-run television reported that the US president had begged for war with his 12-day tour in the region. Pyongyang's nuclear weapons program has topped Trump's agenda in talks with his South Korean, Japanese and Chinese counterparts.
Trump's current trip to our surrounding region is nothing more than a war dealer's business of taking money from its allies' pockets to fill its military dictatorship's greed and an action to rid our self-defense nuclear deterrence.
US Special Counsel Robert Mueller may have unearthed another scandal as part of his investigation into Russian election meddling, meanwhile, and the president's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, could be at the center of it. The Wall Street Journal has published details of an alleged plan by Flynn to seize Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen from his home in the US and deliver him to Turkey. Flynn and his son, Michael Flynn Jr., reportedly stood to receive up to $15 million. Attorneys representing the pair denied the accusations, calling them outrageous and false. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accuses Gulen of being behind a failed coup in July 2016, which Gulen denies. OK, coming up next, the latest from the world of business. Well, when it comes to business news, few things get pulses racing like shopping does, and few days are in fact as big as Singles Day. There is still plenty of time to hunt out a bargain, well, a few minutes at least, if you haven't yet, but e-commerce giant Alibaba has already said that records fell in the opening 3 minutes of the discounts when the company made sales of more than $1.5 billion US. Grace Lee again has more.
a shopping spree of epic proportions, and all it took was 3 minutes for the numbers on this screen to reach 10 billion yuan. That's the equivalent of more than $1.5 billion, and it's just the beginning for sales in Alibaba's Singles Day, an annual online discount sales gala that's become the world's biggest spend-a-thon. Once a celebration for China's lonely hearts, Singles Day has become a 24-hour extravaganza that outsells Black Friday and Cyber Monday U.S. sales combined. The event has shoppers around China scouting for bargains, while delivery men and robots brace for an estimated 1.5 billion parcels expected over the next few days. Alibaba says the rise in China's middle-class consumers is driving the sales, and the overall total is likely to top last year's, something analysts and investors will be watching closely in the coming hours.
One corporate area that could be seeing big change is the world of news. Reuters has reported that Rupert Murdoch telephoned AT&T boss Randall Stephenson twice in the last 6 months to discuss buying CNN. The 86-year-old Murdoch, who is executive chairman of 21st Century Fox, apparently made offers on both occasions, according to sources. Others have denied Murdoch had any interest, though, in owning the news network, while Stephenson said earlier this week he had no interest in selling CNN. In Japan, Kobe steel bosses feel they now know what's behind a data tampering scandal which has rocked global supply chains. An investigation has found poor quality controls and a focus on profit are partly to blame. David Pollard explains why.
Kobe Steel's shares have fallen by nearly a fifth since it revealed the hows of its data tampering scandal a month ago. On Friday, they rose by nearly 2% as it presented its report into the whys.
We were lacking in efforts to comprehend problems regarding quality controls in factories in a situation where we were generating profits.
The report details how multiple workers and managers at 9 production sites were involved in tampering with product specification data. Global car makers, plane makers, even a rocket maker are among over 500 affected companies. If for now, fewer than 10 want to recover costs of safety inspections. An external investigation is also underway.
I'd like to consider how to take responsibility for the scandal at a proper time after that.
Along with its chief, the earnings outlook of the firm also in the balance after Kobe pulled its forecast for a first annual profit in 3 years last week. It sees improving governance and a culture where employees can talk freely as key and wants to automate more operations and reorganize quality control.
The company and or the Japanese government are trying to get ahead of the scandal. The question is, are there further revelations to come? And of course, as we know from previous corporate scandals, those revelations do have a habit of coming out of left field on occasion. So one hesitates to say that